Hi guys, so today I'm going to be teaching you how to navigate in Maya. This will prove particularly useful if you are a Blender animator who gets a job at a studio which only uses Maya in their pipeline. So hopefully this is going to help you to hit the ground running, and I'm going to show you how to do an animation setup similar to the one that we have been doing in Blender. Right now we are in Maya. This is the Maya scene, and I have a character that I have rigged for Maya. This is my Tinder rig. I also have a similar character in Blender. So this is the character in Blender. As you are already familiar in Blender, to get the character, you just do File, and you then append, either you link or you append to get the character into a Blender scene. In Maya, when you get into Maya, you do the same thing. It's File, Import, then you import the character. So this is what I've just done. I've imported the character into the Maya scene. So to navigate in Maya, to pan, you click on Alt on your keyboard and the middle mouse button. This is for panning. Then for rotating, it's Alt and the left, you left click, left mouse button. That's to rotate. Then to zoom in, it's Alt and the right mouse button. So these are the buttons that you use to navigate in Maya. Now to do the animation setup, what you need to know is, let me just show you some of the buttons that you need to be aware of in Maya. So maybe what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be switching back and forth between the Blender scene and the Maya scene so that I really drive the points home. Okay, let me switch into Blender. So in Blender, you're aware that we have different workspaces already predefined. We've got this, for example, we've got this layout workspace, we've got the modeling workspace, sculpting default workspace. Similarly, in Maya, we've got workspaces. We've got this default is the Maya Classic, and then we've got this drop-down menu, and we've got the modeling workspace. We've got the sculpting workspace. All these different workspaces, so you should be aware of those. In Blender, we have this button. If we want to hide and only leave the things which the render only things, we press this button, so that we only have the things which can be rendered visible in the viewport. So in Maya, maybe if we want to hide the grid flow, we just press on this button, then we hide the flow, we hide the bonds if we want to hide the bonds. So similarly, in Maya, if we go into Maya, we've got this panel. If you go under this show, then we click on this dot so that we undock this page. Undock, we can show all. So these are all the things that are in the scene. We've got the lights, the bones, the dome, the grid flow, and when you press none, it hides everything. So if you want only to show the polygons, the mesh of the character, you click on polygons to show the mesh of the character, and to show the controllers, the rig controllers. They are called nebs curves. So this is the button that you need to be aware. Show, to show the things that you want to view in the viewport. Okay. Next up, in Blender, we have the record button. So if you are animating, if you go into pose mode, if you put a keyframe on this one and you want to automatically place keyframes when you move that particular controller, you can use this record button. In Maya, this is the record button. It does exactly the same thing. So if it's highlighted red, it's active. If it's not highlighted, then it's inactive. So you should be aware of that. To set up your frame range in Blender, right, we've got our start frame at frame 1. Our end frame is 250. In Maya, this is where you set, this is your start frame, this second box, this one is your start frame, and this is your end frame, which is which this 120 is your end frame on the timeline. So the current keyframe that we are on, you see on the timeline, it's 52. It's also highlighted here. This one, this 52. This is the frame number, which we see in Blender. It's 53. We've got that little 53. Okay. So to move, to manipulate your rig, your character rig, let me just zoom in a little bit. So I'm pressing out, and this is the right mouse button, as I told you earlier. We select the head controller. Now to rotate, unlike in Blender, so in Blender to rotate you press R, to move you press G, and to scale you press S. But then in Maya, to rotate you actually you press R, you press E for rotation. And in Maya you have to use this gizmo always. Unlike in Blender, you can just use the shortcut. You can say R and then you specify the axis which you want to rotate in. But in Maya, you cannot do that. You have to use this gizmo. So to rotate, it's E, right? Then to move, you use the letter W. So this is how you move your rig in Maya. Okay. Then to scale you use R. You press the letter R on your keyboard, and then this is how you scale your character rig. Alternatively, you can just use these. You can press these buttons. This one is for rotation. This one is for grabbing and moving the controllers, and this one is for scaling. Okay. To clear out rotations or movements in your rig in Blender, what we do, as you're familiar with, if you have rotated maybe your controller like this, if you want to clear the rotation, you press Alt R and it clears the rotation. If it's a movement, you press Alt G to clear the movement. In Maya, you cannot do that. So if you have rotated your controller like this, you have to go in this channel box, and you have to clear the rotations from this part. So you just select the movements, then you press 0, and then you have cleared the rotation. So that's how you do it. And also these red highlights, they show that you have a keyframe on this particular frame. As you can see, also in our timeline, we've got a keyframe here. This is because we have our record button on. So let me just delete the keyframe. Delete. So if we do not have a keyframe, you see they are not highlighted. The rotation is not highlighted. It means there is no keyframe on the rotations of this controller. To actually place a keyframe on the character, in Blender we use the letter I, but in Maya it's the letter S. So if you want to place a keyframe on the controllers, you can select the controllers and then you press the letter S. Let me just show you the channel box. So if there are no highlights in the channel box on any of the transformations, it means there are no keyframes. But as soon as we press the letter S, you can see now they are highlighted red. And also on our timeline we've got this red line, and this shows that we have placed a keyframe. So the letter S is for placing the keyframes. Also, if you want to change the frame rate, you come here at the bottom right corner and you click this little arrow. So this is where you change the frame rate of the scene. And also in Maya, always remember to save, increment and save. So file, increment and save Control Alt S is your friend, because unlike in Blender you can just save. You can save incremental saves, but it's not necessary. In Blender you can just save over the same file and you will not have any issues. But in Maya, if your project crashes, Maya is very notorious. It will delete everything. I don't know what happens with Maya. It happened to me in my early days. It just deleted everything and left a little green thing, which I don't know what it was. So yeah, be very careful in Maya. After you've done Control Alt S, save your work. It will be worth it. To create a short cam in Maya, what you do is you go right here where it said view, create camera from view, or we've got the shortcut Control Shift C. So you press that button. It has already created the camera. This is the camera which we just created. If you check the outliner, it's the one labeled perspective 1. So let's just rename it to short cam. So this is our short cam. To select it again, instead of selecting it from the outliner, you can just do this. You select this little camera icon, it selects the active camera, and you can put these to better show the camera. And to add or change the attributes of the camera, maybe the focal length, what you need to do is you go and click on the attribute editor, this button here. So this shows the attributes of the selected camera. So right here you can change the focal length. As you can see, it's 35 as the default when you add a camera to your scene. So you can change your focal length here. So these are the camera settings if you want to change anything. Also, you can also lock your camera using this little icon here. If you don't want any movements in your camera, you can click on this little lock icon. So now you have locked your camera view. To play blast your animation, if you're done with animating and you want to see a preview of your animation, a play blast, what you can do is you can right click with your cursor hovering over the timeline. You can right click, then you've got this option for play blast. You can click on this little box to view the options. So these are the options. They just went onto my other monitor, but these are the options. So now you can select the format that you want. If you want to render out this an image sequence, AVI, this is QuickTime. You can select the format, then coding, and you can browse to where you want the renders to be put. And to go back into perspective view, you go right here where it says panels, perspective, then you go into the perspective cam. So you're now back in the perspective cam. To go into your short cam, again you click on panels, perspective, then short cam. So to do our setup, our animation setup similar to the one that I have shown you previously in Blender, you can now do this. You can say panels, tier of copy. So it tiers of a copy of this is the copy. It just went in. I've got two monitors, so it went on to the other monitor. So this is a copy a copy of our short cam, which you can now use when you're now animating. In this particular short cam, we don't want to see these controllers or the grid flows. We just want to see our character. We go to this show button and we say none. So we hide everything. Then we say let's just show the polygons. Okay. We also want to hide the grid flow. So this little icon which is highlighted blue, the grid which is highlighted blue, we want to turn it off. So we've turned off our grid flow. Now we can scale it down like this, and we can put it. So if you see flashing blue like this, it means it wants to dock the short cam on this part, but we do not want that, so we want to put it here in this corner. Okay, so this is our short cam. Let me just minimize it a bit, then hide the outliner, and like this. Okay, then we want to go back into our perspective view, panels, perspective, then perspective. Now this is our perspective view. So if you're doing your animation, you can have your short cam logged in like this, then you'll be doing your animation like this. Also, we do not want to see these annotations which are on the top left corner, and also we don't want to see the gizmo here. So to hide the gizmo, we go again to show, then we hide the manipulators. Now we're no longer seeing the manipulators. To hide these polycount nodes that we have at the top left corner, what you can do is you can go to display, heads up display, then you turn off this polycount. Okay, so now we have a clean short cam right here. Okay, so now let's just clear the rotations. As I've shown you, go to the channel box, then we clear the rotation. We're pressing 0. Okay, next up, what we want to do, we also want our according to our setup, we also want the top sheet. So to bring out the top sheet, you go at the top here, we go to Windows, Animation Editors, and that's where you find the top sheet. The graph editors right here, and also the top sheet. So we want the top sheet. If you click that, the top sheet comes into view. This is our top sheet. Okay. Also, you can switch from the top sheet to the graph editor from this part. So if you press this little icon, it changes from the top sheet to the graph editor. Now it's the graph editor, as you can see. If you want to switch back to the top sheet, you just press this icon. Now it's the top sheet. Okay. Next up, our reference. If you want to use a reference, unlike in Blender where we can use the video, in Maya you have to use an image sequence. So after rendering out an image sequence, what you can do is you can press with your mouse over the hovering above the viewport. You can press the space bar. Okay, if you press the space bar, now we have the perspective. This is the top orthographic, this is the front orthographic view, and this is the side orthographic view. Okay, so to show our reference, we're going to use the front orthographic view. So to zoom into the front orthographic view, with the mouse hovering the view, you press the space bar. Now we have maximized the front view. Now again, we want to show none. Okay, we hide everything. Then we want to show our image planes. So these are the image planes, because we're going to import our image, which is going to be our reference. So we say image planes. Okay, we've taken that in. We also want to hide the grid, so we hide the grid. To import the image, we go to View, Image Plane, Import Image. Then you go to wherever your image plane is located. So mine is at the desktop, my tutorial. So this is my image sequence. I'm just using the one that we used in our dense course. So we open that. Okay, so we have imported our image plane. Now this is a still image. Now to tell Maya that we want to use the sequence, we go to this part the attribute editor. if you press this attribute editor and you scroll down, you see this part, which says it shows the location of the image that we've just imported. Then you click this little box which says use image sequence. Okay, so now you can see now that we can see our reference working similar to what we had in Blender. Also take note, as if you render out your image sequence, make sure that it has a little extension at the beginning of the numbers. So we've got these numbers, the quad zeros, but before the quad zeros we've got I've put a letter R before the quad zeros. This is very important. Somehow if you just have the numbers quad 0 and you click on the little box use image sequence, Maya will not read the image sequence. But if you have maybe a letter or a name before the numbers, that's how you get Maya to work, to read the image sequence correctly. Okay, so to tear off this copy, we need to tear off the image sequence. So we say panels, tear off copy. So it told this is the copy. Okay, so now that we have our copy, what you can now do with the mouse hovering above our orthographic view, we want to minimize it now, so you press the space bar. Now we have these 4 panels. We go back into our perspective view, press space bar. Now we have our reference right here. This is our reference. We have our short cam, that's our top sheet, and then our short cam. Okay, so yeah, this is what I wanted to show you guys. This is the setup similar to what we had in Blender. So this is the setup that I use. If you have 2 monitors like I have, you can have maybe the top sheet in the other monitor to just avoid clutter on your workspace. So yeah, you can have your reference right here, your short cam, and now you can start doing your animation similar to how you do it in Blender. Also, another thing that you might want to know, to lock the selection, because right now if you click on the mesh, it's selected. So this particular feature is similar to Blender. If you're in Blender, you see, if you do not, under edit, if you do not lock the object modes, like if it's unlocked, you can again select the mesh and select the bonds in pose mode. But if you don't want that, you go to edit, you lock the object modes. Now they are locked, you cannot select the mesh. So if you want to achieve the same thing in Maya, what you do is you just turn off this little icon. It turns off the mesh from being selected. So if it's on, if it's highlighted blue, you can select the mesh. But if it's unhighlighted, if it's turned off like this, now you can do your pausing without any issues. Okay, alright guys, so this is what I wanted to show you. If you want to start animating in Maya, I think this will prove particularly useful to you. These are the things that I think you might need to know for starters as an animator, and yeah, I hope it was helpful. Otherwise, yeah, this is it. It's bye for now.